Around 7 years back, when I was 10 years old, I suffered my first instance with quote-unquote stress. My heart palpitated. My nails chewed off. I was constantly ruminating about my exams. They were all the way in March, yet here I was in January, worrying about them. No matter what I did, I was stressed. I had lost almost 3 days of sleep. And it got really bad, but around the start of February, my dad had to take me to a therapist. The therapist did normal activities, like discussing how I felt that week on beanbags, or even drawing while listening to classical music by composers like Beethoven and Mozart. In hindsight, I now realize, and I'm thankful for my father for providing me that pathway towards managing my stress, confronting a deep fear of mine. More than 70% of children who suffer from mental health issues do not receive the appropriate support they need. And this can be detrimental towards a child's upbringing, as mental health issues can shape the way a person is for the rest of their lives. Since the dawn of time, the term mental health has always been neglected by the public. It's a term that, when brought up in a conversation, can lead to awkward glares between one another. Often, men have to bottle up their emotions as it's deemed not manly enough by society. For children aged 8 to 17, the root cause of stress is academic pressures or fear of letting their parents down. And this can be seen as an investigation in 2020 done by the Children's Commission of England stated that out of the 2,000 participants that took part, more than 60% suffer from stress due to exams, while 25% suffered from what people may perceive of them. In the moment of stress, it may seem like everything is piling up on you, but realizing this, that in the long run, it may be insignificant, is a crucial step towards achieving personal growth. Taking a step back, taking a few breaks, meditation, deep breaths have been proven beneficial by a multitude of studies to have several mental health benefits, such as reducing overall anxiety, stress, and deactivating the central nervous system, which is the part of the body that controls the flight and fright reaction during stress. That brings me to my next point. Having a support group is paramount to being mentally healthy. I come from an Indian school where everyone knew everyone, and often we'd go months without having any contact with each other. Yet we'd come back, and it would be like we hadn't missed a beat. I almost lived in this enclosed bubble. I was happy. I lived a comfortable lifestyle. That was until my father enrolled me in a British school. In this British school, everyone spoke different languages. Everyone had different dialects. Everyone ate different food, even studied differently. I'd never had a single friend who wasn't Indian. And in this school, everyone was of different ethnicities. This stressed me out. New surroundings frightened me. I tried to fit in. I tried being someone I really wasn't. And this took a massive toll on my mental health. My behavior plummeted. I would get several mails home. My father would have to be called to school multiple times. My behavior was appalling. Eventually, I started hanging out with a group of friends who, although at first I did seem to like, I started distancing myself from them. I didn't enjoy the comfort that I felt around them, and this caused me to be distant from them. Around the start of lockdown, I started setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is essential towards improving your mental health, and although at first it may seem like there's a lack of support, in the long run, your mental health will improve. Around lockdown, when I started pushing away this friend group that constantly belittled me, I found myself lonely. I found myself scared. Yet, with the support of my parents and me feeling to open up a bit more and be more vulnerable, it allowed me to get out of this state of isolation and get out of this rut. In multiple cultures, it's often considered taboo to open up or visit a shrink or a counselor. In 2023 alone, more than 118,000 men have taken their lives as compared to 45,000 women. And a key contributor to this is men not being able to open themselves up freely. This can be seen as more than 60% of men aren't able to express themselves. And this is a real concern, as suicide rates are higher than ever. During lockdown was probably where I was at my lowest point. I'd pushed away all my so-called toxic friends, and going to football was probably the best part of my week, where I was part of this tight-knit group. Physical fitness was a distraction from the monotonous lifestyle I led during COVID. It allowed me to freely involve myself in activities while not thinking about the assignments we received, which was constantly bombarding. Physical fitness has seemed to have meant several health benefits, such as improving dopamine levels and serotonin levels. A study done by UCLA Health stated that, on average, a person suffers from 3.4 poor mental health days, but this figure drastically reduces by 20% if exercise is taken into account. A simple task of going for yoga or even for a walk of 20 minutes can boost a person's happiness. That leads me to my next point. The first academic year back, I felt like this was a new opportunity, a new start, a fresh start. My class had changed from the year prior, and I felt like this was the time for change. Yet, I remember it vividly. I broke down in front of my dad one day. Making new friends seemed like the most daunting task, as I had almost no contact with any of my school friends. Yet, eventually, I found that through opening myself up and being more vulnerable, it allowed me to not only maintain new friendships, create new friendships, but even forge old bonds that I'd forgotten about. Mental health isn't biased, nor does it discriminate. It can affect anyone, no matter the age, ethnicity, or background. That's why I stand here before you today, to open myself up, and in hopes that someone just like me would open themselves up and be more vulnerable. My final message to all of you is that you're not alone in this battle. And although the journey to exposing yourself may be filled with obstacles, the destination is more than worth it. Don't be afraid to seek help, and support will always be found from friends and family. That's it for today. My name is Shaun. Sunil. Thank you for listening.